Did either of you ponder, even for a moment, joining the military?
Not really. I never really thought about joining the military. I know my younger sister thinks about it, but me personally, I wasn't sure that I would be able to commit myself to something so great as that.
Okay.
No, I never really seriously considered joining the military. I think it's great for a lot of people. I think it provides a lot of opportunities for a lot of people, and obviously it does great things defending our nation, but I don't think it's ever really been the right fit for me.
Okay. Well, the secondary question to that then is, what do you think about a program that is basically a shared sacrifice program, where everyone who, once they graduate from high school, for example, would spend 2 years devoting their life to the nation? That could be military service, or it could be teaching classrooms, or cleaning up garbage dumps, or whatever it might be. It might even be, in foreign lands, in a Peace Corps type environment. What do you think about 2 years? So that would set you back 2 years from your personal goals.
I think it could have a lot of potential benefits. I think, especially what you just said about personal goals, getting people to kind of put society before themselves, think about the world outside themselves. I think that could be a great thing. The school I'm going to, Tulane, it has a 2-year community service requirement, so I have to fulfill 2 years, 2 course obligations that are based entirely around public service in the New Orleans area. So I think that's a great thing. I think it's really good to get people involved in the community, whether that be their city, their nation, or a foreign Peace Corps kind of thing.
Okay, all right.
I'm not sure whether it would be best fit for everyone. It definitely is such a great thing to the society, but if people do plan on going to university, perhaps if they did something such as what Michael said that Tulane does, that would be better for students that are going to school. 2 years is a long time that one can do, so you definitely want to pay it back and give back to your community. So, I'm not sure if it's directly after high school would benefit. Maybe if there was a way that they could fit it in a person to their own personal schedule, that would be better.
Okay, but of course not everybody's going to college, so we have the full gamut of what people are doing. Hey, if you want to join our conversation, you've got a piece of advice you want to offer for new kids coming out of high school, or a question for them, the number is 547-8726, and we'll be happy to add you to our conversation right here. I want to know how you're paying for college. College debt right now is just astronomical. It's often worse for some people than a mortgage on a home. So how are you going to pay for college right now?
I definitely have received a lot of scholarships from the university itself and from other organizations that will have me covered for my first 2 years. But besides that, the school has been super helpful in helping me cover it. There will be a couple loans that I will have to take out, but nothing major. So that's how I look on paying for college. I definitely, going through high school, I prepared myself, like if I'm involved, if I do good grades, all of this, that will get me, have me more available to more scholarships.
Okay, so you were working towards scholarships once you figured out at the freshman level that you were going to be going to college. Okay?
Yes.
All right.
I actually entered a video in a scholarship contest at Tulane, and I won a full tuition scholarship.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I know. I made like a 3-minute video and got a 4-year scholarship. So
Wow.
that paid just for tuition, so it doesn't cover room and board. But I also, on top of that, I got a renewable National Merit Scholarship. So that's how I'm paying for college.
All right, so because you're smart or dedicated or studied a lot, or so you have ways in terms of scholarships, and maybe a little bit more difficult for people that don't have some of those abilities. Yeah.
It definitely is. I see it in our peers that are struggling right now to pay for college, but then in the end they always say, I'm building towards my future. So it's a bit sad that it's such a high cost for our dreams and to get ahead in life, but it's something that everyone's willing to, or has to, dedicate their time to and has to go forward with.
Yeah, whew, that's $80,000 sometimes or so. So that is a major commitment from people. All right, here's a question for you. So you're going to be on an island for a year I'm just making this up. You only get one method of communication. It could be a smartphone, a computer, or a television. Which one of those do you pick?
Well, I don't know. Do we have Wi-Fi?
Why? That would be the major question for you, huh?
Well, I mean, a computer's no good without Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Okay. Uh-huh.
I mean, if I'm on a deserted island, I'd probably go with a smartphone. Easiest to lug around.
Okay.
Same, and if we can communicate back to our family, that's also a perk to having a smartphone. Portable, easy to carry.
You know, a lot of people say that nobody's watching TV anymore, and particularly young people are not. Do you watch TV?
I do. I don't watch a lot of regularly aired programming. I watch some stuff on Netflix. I would only say I watch maybe one or two shows actually on air, like wait for it to come out every week.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, mostly online streaming is where a lot of younger people are going.
So you're not watching appointment television. I mean, that was really very significant maybe about 20 years ago. Must-watch TV.
Yeah, no, not especially. And the only thing I really tune in every week for would be Game of Thrones.
All right. What about your TV watching?
I do tend to watch it sometimes, but even then, it usually is recorded, so you skip through all the commercials, you do it on your own time, and when I do, I watch it with my parents for a couple minutes, so I'm usually into Netflix and those shows that I can record on my own time and see when I'm not busy.
Yeah. All right. So here's my concluding question to you. What is it that you have seen? I mean, when we're graduating from high school, we always sort of look at the world and we have these like lofty kinds of ideas about what we want to do. And lofty ideas are good because we work towards them. So what are your thoughts about what you want to do with your life? Michael?
Oh man, there's a lot of things I want to do with my life. I want to go to law school after college. I kind of want the very like stereotypical American dream, kind of, you know, a couple of kids, a house, some dogs, sort of thing. And you know, I do want to be able to stand up for people in our country who maybe don't have a loud voice, who don't have the means to stand up for themselves. So some sort of representation of them, maybe, you know, if that's public office or maybe some other way, would be something I'd be really interested in pursuing.
Okay. Giving to other people.
Definitely, after going out of law school, I want to have my own practice, come back to the Tri-Cities, work here, because this is where my family is, this is where I was born and raised, and I want to give back to my community. But I know my family, immigration has been an issue with like other people around here, so definitely speak for those students. For students that have been raised here in this country but aren't able to call it their home or aren't able to receive the benefits just as I am. So definitely speak out for those parents and those students and those families, and have my own family and raise the roots here in the Tri-Cities.
Oh, great. I love that. Thank you so much. It was delightful hearing from the two of you, and we have two more students we're going to hear from as well. So don't go away. This is News Talk 870. What is this next generation of young people going to do in the world? And are they going to take care of us old folks well? I'm feeling pretty confident and pretty comfortable about that so far. So we've got two new students to hear from. Daphne Gallegos is a graduate of Pasco High. David Jurgens just graduated from Hanford. So welcome both of you, David and Daphne.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, good. All right, tell me, Daphne, what clubs were you in?
Okay, so I was president of National Honor Society. I was president of our drama club. I was also an officer for our French club. I was a late crew leader. And in addition to that, I was very involved in Gear Up. I was an ambassador for the Gear Up program. And I also served as a student representative to the Pasco School District Board of Directors.
Wow, okay, so you were busy.
I was, yes.
What about you, David?
I was involved in National Honor Society as well, and Key Club, as well as I did ASB. I was on junior class council for Hanford and senior class council too. And in addition to those, I did baseball for Hanford for 4 years and football this last year, so that was pretty fun.
You did football just as a senior?
Yeah.
Wow.
It was a good experience.
Wow, that's interesting. All right, did you experience, Daphne, an inspirational teacher in any of your 12 years of school?
I experienced a lot of inspirational teachers. I think that inspiration is very easy to find in especially the people that are educating you from the time that you're in elementary school all throughout high school. You definitely get to know your teachers on a very personal level, especially in high school. And so getting to know their story and being able to look up to them definitely I found inspiration in.
Give me a couple of names. Do you
S-
mind?
Yes, of course. So my AP chemistry teacher, Julia Jones, she has a very similar story to mine. She had a sick parent, and she went through the loss of a parent in college, and that hasn't stopped her. She's going on to get her master's and eventually her PhD in education.
Mm-hmm. Good.
Yeah,
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
All right. How about inspiration for you?
I found countless people who inspired me at Hanford every day of my life. All the teachers at Hanford are fantastic people, and anywhere from a coach to a counselor to a teacher, all of them, they're so inspirational to me.
Boy, you're very generous, you young people. That's very nice of you. Okay. You know, gay rights and all is kind of a big issue right now. I want to know if, do you have any friends that are gay, Daphne?
I have a lot of friends that are identify as gay, homosexual, bisexual, pansexual.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if they were to, you know, have a wedding in the next couple of years or 5 years or whatever, would you go?
Of course.
Okay.
Of course,
All right.
without a doubt.
Yeah. How about you, David?
I'm acquainted with people who are gay, and I actually have a best friend whose uncles are gay, and I completely support them, all of them, and I would definitely go to one of their weddings if I was invited.
All right. Do you think that, David, do you think that your political thinking is the same as your parents or not? Do you think the same? Are you the same party or what?
I think for the most part, I'm pretty similar. I definitely do like to think for myself, though. I'm kind of in the middle of Republican and Democrat,
Uh-huh.
and I just like that because I don't really want to be radical in one way or the other. I like to accept everybody's ideas and be able to broaden my own ideas of just what's generally good for the world.
Wow, can we clone that? I love that attitude. That is a really, really good attitude. Are your political thinking the same as your parents, do you think?
So I wouldn't necessarily say that. My parents definitely raised me to think as an independent person. And so my parents have really been there to challenge me more so than to impose, you know, ideals or opinions on me. And so I think definitely for me, it depends on the time that we're going through as a nation. So I don't identify myself with a particular party. I think it's crucial to do what's best for the nation at a given time, and that differs slightly than, you know, my parents' political perspectives.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
So you think that their ideas are already solid? They lean a particular way.
Yeah,
And I'm not asking you to tell us what
that's
that is.
totally fine.
Yeah.
I would definitely say that, but again, we do challenge each other's opinions, and I think it's good to have that conversation with parents,
Mhm.
being able to be open about that.
Yeah, that's kind of how we learn, isn't it?
Of
when
course.
when we come across people who think differently than we do.
Completely, yeah.
A lot of young people travel a lot more today than previous generations. I mean, it's just a lifestyle. So, David, where have you been so far in your life?
Well, I've been to Alaska. That was really fun. I went on the cruise, and I've been to California to go look at colleges a couple years ago with my buddy, and that was so fun. My first time going on a plane. That was exciting. And I've been to Canada, a little bit of Canada, and just recently I went on a couple backpacking trips.
Nice.
Yeah.
Where?
I went to Kolchak Lake and Ingalls Lake.
Are those in the Cascades?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Mhm. All right. Where have you traveled, Daphne?
So I've been to about 10 states in the U.S. and then a couple years ago I got the opportunity to travel with my French teacher to France. So we spent about 10 days in the northern part of France. It was an absolutely stellar opportunity. I think it's awesome that when young people get to travel because they begin to see that the world is truly a very big place, and that in turn has inspired me to travel when I'm older and I have my established career. And so yeah, there's so much of the world outside of the U.S. that I can't wait to explore.
It's big, but it also gets smaller. The more that you see of it, you realize that we're all very, very similar.
Which is probably
Yes.
a good thing. You
Yeah.
know, then we get to become more like culturally accepting, and I think that's a great thing.
Mm-hmm. So did either of you think of joining any branch of the military? Was that an idea in your mind at all? David, how about you?
I have definitely spent a lot of time considering joining the armed forces, and I still am. I have considered joining the Navy, specifically joining BUDS training and being a Navy SEAL, because I feel that I have a body that is able to do things that those guys do, and if I could join them and do great things with them, that would be fantastic, because I could do my part that way.
Okay. What about you?
So I've always kind of stuck to my plan that I've kind of had in my head since middle school, and the armed forces were never part of that plan, and so I never actually spent any a significant amount of time considering joining the armed forces.
Mm-hmm. All right. Did you work in high school?
I never did. I was too busy with sports and school and clubs, and any little bit of time that I could get of freedom, I just spent it enjoying it and just lounging, or hanging out with my friends and just kind of blowing off steam, because high school does get really stressful and busy, and so I needed that time for myself, I feel like. And a job may have just put me a little overboard, and so I just didn't really want to do that right then.
How about you? Did you work?
Oh, well, first and foremost, my first job was being a student. Being a student always came first. But in addition, I did do some babysitting early on, and this year I got the opportunity to work at Captain Gray Kinder Center, working at the Parent Education Center, where we teach ESL classes to parents in the district. So I got a lot of professional exposure there. So that was my first real job.
First real job. All right. Why don't we? We'll take a little break from our discussion right here, but we're going to come back because I still have more questions. I really want to know, what do they think about programs like Social Security? There's always the talk, for example, that Social Security is going to run out of money. I mean, I heard that when I was their age. So let's find out what they think about it. Is it going to be there when they need it? This is News Talk 870.